The advantage to using a video repeater is that it's solid state, and so they're also very light in weight. But basically the idea is that you have a video material that runs on the flash card that is then installed in the repeater. Well, the other thing we can do with these is we can have them automatically controlled in a number of different ways. We can have a push button switch, we can have a mat switch where customers walk, step on the mat, and then that activates the repeater using a cable. They can also be installed together with various interfaces, which then will allow you to do a push button, which will then activate more than one repeater. We can also have them run by computer software. There's various show control software that runs on PCs, and then from the PC is a big interface connector box that sends control signals out to a lot of these devices. So they would be to video repeaters, to audio playback units, to lights and sound. A lot of things can be controlled by computers. But the advantage here is that you can have something intelligently controlled that can play back the video on cue at the right time. That also means we can produce custom video material designed for a certain scene. Now, I've done some of that working for museums. Our first one was a Russian museum called the Terrors of St. Petersburg. Now there we did a number of different rooms where each one had a video effect that was controlled by a video repeater. In the Terrors of St. Petersburg Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia, we did an effect with a 2 video repeater setup in a room where there's a flooding jail cell. Actually, there was a third one because we had rats running on the bed. So what happened in this museum is, as customers would walk through the room, a sensor would automatically pick somebody up standing in the kind of the entryway to the room, and it would start to show for that room. The video projectors were both hung from the ceiling in this case. The one that was for the window was actually pointing straight from about 8 or 9 feet in the air at a slight angle down onto the wall. But the window was located high up on the wall, so the projection was literally straight across from the projector to the wall. Then what they did, if you notice there's a sort of a window frame and bars, then artists at the museum painted the rest of the prison wall using wall paint around the projected image once the image was in place. The other video projector was literally pointing almost straight down onto the floor. And so it was the area in front of this bed and in front of the window so that the water, as it appeared to be going through the air after it comes in the window, it runs literally projected on the wall but appears to be arcing in the air, and then that projection ends and the one on the floor of the water splashing and running across the floor begins. So it's 2 used in tandem with 2 video repeaters, and the effect is quite impressive. In the same scene, we had our world-famous rat running on the bed. In the Russian case, we actually had just 1 as opposed to 3 or 4. And this was basically done by another video projector hanging from the ceiling, and it was pointing down at a very steep angle of probably close to 75 degrees directly onto the edge of the prop bed that was at the museum. So the projector is simply hanging down. We line up the edge of where the rat performed, the actual white surface, with the bed, and the white light from the projector serves as the light source to put the spot of light on the bed where the rat is running. And so what happened is we had a couple of video repeaters that were hidden in the room, in the ceiling, and they connected to the video projectors. So first you would see flooding water pouring in a window. Then the next repeater would start up, and then that would have water running across the floor from a second video projector. And then a third projector would turn on by the third video repeater, and that showed rats running across a bed. And that was total time sequence went along with another unit which played back the audio for the room. That was kind of the history of what happened to this queen who drowned in a jail room. Now the video repeaters, again, that I'm using are from Team Kingsley, and that's a company that manufactures a number of devices, including the video repeaters and some control modules. So the way you hook these up, it's pretty simple. As far as getting them to run in synchronization, they use a little cable which is basically like a telephone cord, and that plugs into the back of each repeater. And then there's a number of interfaces that they make which are for controlling more than one repeater. This is one that will control two. And so again, the cord will plug in there, and then we'll have another cord that goes to the second video repeater. And then you simply attach a push button switch to this module, and when you push the button, both repeaters start going. And so if you want to have some kind of a scene like the spider running on the counter and the snake in the background, and you want them to both start exactly the same time, that can be done very easily with a video repeater unit. We can also attach this, as I said, to a computer, so the jack would then go from here onto a computer. If you're familiar with show software and how that hooks up, that's basically what you would do. The computer would tell the repeaters when to start through a module like this, and then the control cable just plugs into each repeater. This is the front of the DV69 digital video player. Audio and video material are put onto an SD card from a PC, and then the card is popped in the slot, and then the repeater, digital video player, they're called both names, will continue to play that material activated by the various switches. You can also plug a USB drive in here in order to load the material. This is the back panel of the DV69 digital video player. The power goes in on the right-hand side into a standard AC adapter. And then you've got audio output, which can go to a speaker system. You've got the old-fashioned composite video, commonly seen with a yellow connector, which goes into any TV, any monitor, any video projector with the composite video. We also have VGA, common to computer monitors and many video projectors. And then the HDMI, high definition video cable, that can also plug into newer video projectors and high-def TVs. The control cable is plugged into the far left-hand jack, and that goes over to push-button controller or any of a number of different interfaces which will allow a button or a foot switch or a computer to activate the repeater on cue. And that is the basic hookup. Here's an effect sequence we can do even at home using either two video repeaters or two DVD players that are identical. What you see here is a tarantula running across the top of a counter. And then in the background, there's snakes crawling on a table. Notice these are both running together in sequence. We have two video projectors that are mounted on top of the kitchen cabinets. Each one faces down on a different table surface area. So we have the projectors lined up so that the image goes exactly where we want them to go on both surfaces. Now notice with the tarantula, it actually seems to walk down into the drawer which has been purposely left open. When in reality it happens to be where the tarantula will walk on the normal image if you projected it like onto concrete. So what we did is we lined it up so that it would walk forward down a white cutting board, which then actually has a piece of paper towel wrapped across it so that it lets the tarantula look like it's walking across paper down into the drawer, pokes around a little bit, and then walks out of the drawer to the left, down into the garbage can, which is lined up with the shot. Then it crawls back up out of the garbage can and backs up onto the counter where it started. So it's a really interesting sequence that can be done if you happen to have a drawer that can be pulled out from a counter. And the snakes are pretty self-explanatory. They simply crawl across a white piece of cloth that is laid across the table. So it's basically just a white tablecloth that allows us to project the image brighter than if we went onto the normal wood color.